We're in Keble College Chapel and you were here a few months ago. What was the programme and what was your involvement?
So I very kindly was invited by Edward to take part in a concert for the Early Music Festival that was putting together works by Rameau for voice and organ, which was very exciting for me because some of this music I already knew and had studied before. Other bits I didn't know quite so well, but I did know Les Indes galantes, which is the work that all of these arias, or 6 of these arias, has been taken from. Really, it was my job to transform vocally 4 different characters from the opera into an evening of varied music, and it was actually very successful, if I do say so myself. It was very enjoyable. We performed up from the organ loft, so the audience sat down here and just listened, and I will never know what they heard actually as a result.
But very immersive, I guess.
Absolutely.
And it gives you the opportunity to really hone in on what you're hearing rather than the visual aspects, which is what you get from the opera. So it'd be great to hear a little bit more about how you worked on the programme. Of course, this isn't your sort of grade 1 syllabus material, right? There's some really challenging repertoire. So what's that like as a vocalist, really honing that repertoire, getting it settled in your voice and having the comfort to then really experiment with it and tease different elements out?
Absolutely. So this is very complex vocal music. My job really is to bring as much emotional colour into a very fine line. When I first started studying Les Indes galantes, I just had one character to look at and think about, and I performed it actually with harpsichord and also with a small consort of instruments, which were 2 very different experiences in themselves. And then, of course, when we were putting this programme together, I now had 3 other characters to think about and organ as an accompaniment, and I use that word very widely. We are definitely partners in this way of performing. So really I had to think about the identity of each character and what really motivates them, and then work out how I could really channel that vocally so that there is variety within the character as well as within the music, which is what's so special about early French music for me.
Oh my goodness, that's a lot to think about at once. So would you say that you're adapting some of the colour that you put into the lines depending on what you're singing along with, for want of a better way of saying
Absolutely. It? And I mean, the beauty of this is that the 6 arias from Les Indes galantes are all very much married to how that character was particularly feeling at that time. So it wasn't necessarily something that I had to overdo in any way. It was kind of gifted to me on the page. But you've got, for example, Musette Raisonnée, which is Ibi, who is a goddess, and she's calling for her followers to join her in a festival, comparatively with Fatim, who believes in the second version that her husband doesn't love her anymore and is in fact in love with someone else. So 2 very different characters, 2 very different emotional places to come from anyway.